Hello guys, and welcome to a new WARNO video today by me, Vulcan. In this one I'm excited to share with you a first look at the 16th Armoured Division, a new Belgian division available in the NORTHAG expansion. Let's jump on in. Just to note, what you see today is a work in progress and therefore subject to change, but we're going to go through all of the units and I'll put together a quick deck. So this division actually really interesting. It's primarily a Belgian division, but it does have units from Luxembourg, which is a new introduction to WARNO as well. So let's start here in the logistics tab. We have the MAN Z311 logistics truck. This is pretty standard, 90 km/h speed, 1000 supply, 40.6 on a card. Then we have the Volvo N10, which is really good in the campaign. In this case, availability a little bit low at 2 on a card for 80 points, but otherwise a decent supply vehicle, 90 km/h speed with 3000 supply. Then there's the option of the Sultan for a leader, really solid armoured leader with 2 front and 2 side armour, maintains decent speed at 80 km/h on-road and 70 km/h off-road. Really solid option as a CV. Then we have the AAFV BCP, which is great value for money, 55 points, 2 front, 2 side armor, has a 50 cal, 75 km/h on-road speed. Unfortunately, the availability letting it down a little bit here. Then we have the Iltis PC, which is a really fast Jeep CV, 100 km/h speed, 80 points is mainly due to that speed, and yeah, it's decent. Then we have the Humvee CP, which is the first of the Luxembourg units that we're going to be able to see today. It has the 100 km/h speed, but it costs 100 points because it is forward deployable, which is really useful in 1v1 to capture sectors early. And then finally we have the option of a FOB. Let's move on to the infantry. So starting off here with a MAG squad, the Belgian MAG squad. Then we have a Belgian 50 cal squad. These can be brought in with either the M113 with a 50 cal or the AIFV with a 50 cal as well. Then we have the military police, which come with the 4 PM M2s. Unfortunately, no military police vehicle for these, so going to be less of a priority in this division. Moving on though, we have the reservists, which are going to be having the reserve trait, and they have 8 FNCs and the Sorfallo with the Blinderside RL83. Now the 83 only has 14 penetration, the RL100 gets 18 penetration, so they're getting the worst AT option, which you would imagine they would because they are reservists, but they can be brought in with an M113, and the M113 is not a reservist trait, so that's pretty interesting to note. Then we have the Pioneers. So these are coming in with the M13A1B or the AMX13. The AMX13 does have significantly more armor, but a worse armament. So something to consider. Otherwise, this leader unit, not that great. 40 points, 5 Uzis, no smoke grenade, no AT. Then we have the Pioneers with the Blinderside. So they get 3 Uzis, they get the 6 FNC, and the Blinderside there with the 14 penetration, the RL83 variant. But they do get shock trait because they're Pioneers, and the transports again either Unimog, M113, or the AMX13. Then we have your standard Pioneer setup with the Satchel, 8 FNCs, the MAG, and then the Satchel with the shock trait, same transports. And finally the Flamer variant, they have the Hafler. So this is interesting because it has a decent range. 20 round per minute rate of fire. I guess it's kind of like the hand Flampatron. Interesting. So 9 Uzis, 45 point shock trait. Could be pretty good actually. Then we have a 50 cal squad from Luxembourg. Very cool. We have the mechanized Fusiliers. So this mechanized Fusilier leader, these can come in the Unimog or the AAFV B50. Quite a nice option, 6-man with a law and the smoke grenade. Then we have the standard mechanized Fusiliers. These come with 4 FNCs, 2 Sorfalos, and then the mag. So they get 3 machine guns, which is very interesting, plus an M72 law for 40 points. That seems pretty good value. They're a 7 strength squad though, which might let them down a little bit, and does bring down the cost. But otherwise, they can be brought in with either the Unimog, the AIFV with the 50 cal, or the AIFV with the 25mm autocannon. Now, this 25mm autocannon is actually very good. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how effective you can be with these. Because in the campaign, they do tear things up quite nicely. But then we've got the Mechanized Fusiliers with the Blinderside RL83. Now, these come with less machine guns. So they got 5 FNCs and 2 Sorvalos, so they don't get the mag. But then they have the Blinderside, which has that extra range. But the penetration is so low on this. I'm not a big fan. Also, they can't be brought in with the autocannon AIFE. Right, next up we have the Milan teams. So we have the standard Milan, which can be brought in with an M113, which has a Milan on it as well, which is a nice combination actually. And then the Milan 2, which can be brought in with AIFVs. The AIFV can be brought in with a Milan as well. Okay, interesting. And finally, we have the Luxembourg troops, the Fusiliers here. So the Fusilier leader, which is actually very nice. The 6 Uzis, Carl Gustav, smoke grenade, and forward deployable. Very nice indeed, but quite expensive. And then we have the Fusiliers, which can be forward deployed as well from Luxembourg. 6 fouls, 2 mags, and the law. Interesting. For 55 points forward deployable, come with a Humvee that's got 100 km/h speed. These could do some damage early on, for sure. Alright, moving on to the artillery tab, we have ourselves 81mm mortars. Standard stuff. Then we have the 107mm mortars. We have Luxembourg 81mm mortars. We have 105mm artillery as well. And then there's the Belgian M109s. The M109's always a solid option. And then it's just going to be like, what other artillery do you want? Now, because the 81mm mortar here is forward deployable, it does cost more than the standard 81mm mortar, which I kind of find a little bit pointless. It does get a decent amount more range though, which is interesting. Okay, so it is a different mortar, just the same caliber. Oh, actually, is that 120mm mortar? Oh, okay, so it's more similar. No, it does say 81mm. It's just a different type of mortar. Interesting. So an 81mm that can fire 5,625 meter range, which is the same range as the 107, but the 107 does more damage. I'm trying to think, like, why would you ever take this 81 when the 107's better and the 81mm's cheaper as an 81mm? Well, moving on, we have the tank tab. The Iltis with the Milan 2 mounted on it. Really nice platform actually, because it's got good stealth, 100 km/h speed. This is going to be great for dotting around in tree lines. Then we have the Jagdpanzer. This thing has 13 penetration, 2,100 meter range, 55% accuracy. Only 6 front armor though, and 3 side armor. 60 points. I'm curious if this would get much use. Then we have the Striker, which comes with the swing fire system. 23 penetration, 2,625 meter range is great. The thing that I think always lets the Striker down is its lack of stealth. Especially when you compare it to something like these Luxembourg Humvee TOW 2s, which get good stealth. Now, of course, you know, you're not getting armor, and these things can basically be one-shot by a tank. But truth is, you're generally going to be out of range of them when these fire. And a tank, unless it has recon by it, won't be able to spot these in cover. So you have that going for you too. So this is actually a really nice option, especially with the 65% accuracy, which these get, and they also have more penetration than a Milan 2. Moving on, we have the Belgian Leopards. So we got the Leopard 1BE Command, which is the 16 penetration, 2,275 meter range. Really, really nice that they get the L7A3 with that 2,275 meter range. The big thing you got to worry about with the Leopard 1 is its lack of armor. But a decently fast vehicle, great for like snapshotting and getting side shots on enemy units. So yeah, still a solid tank and decent value for money. There is the 1A5 variant with the command and standard 1A5. Like if we compare these, we can see that the 1A5 is more accurate. It has better penetration, but the actual tank stats are the same. So like the same armor, same speed, all that good stuff. So the 1A5 is really, really worth bringing. And moving on to the recon tab, we start off with an M13, which has exceptional optics and a 50 cal. Very nice indeed. Exceptional optics vehicles, I'm always a big fan of them. Exceptional optics is so useful, especially when you accompany or use them to accompany tanks. Really, really handy. Then we have the Alouette, which is your classic 4 health recon helicopter with very good optics. We've got the Éclaireur, which have the 3 FNCs, Sorfalo and the Law. Can be brought in with a a good optics Iltis, the Spartan, or the Alouette. There's also a Éclaireur 8-man squad with the Blinderside. Interesting, for 65 points. 6 FNCs, 2 Sorfalos, and the Blinderside. They get exceptional stealth as well. This could be a pretty good early game unit. Then there's a sniper team. They can be brought in with a Jeep that has decent optics as well, or they can be brought in with the helicopter, the A109BA, or the Iltis, standard Iltis. And then we have the ESR GVP, which I had fun using in the campaign. I'm not sure how effective they're going to be in multiplayer, but they do come with the 2 vets. You get 4 FNCs, Mini-Me Parrot, and the Model 3011, which is a very interesting marksman rifle. Well, technically a full-blown sniper. You get the M72 Law, Special Forces trait, Shock trait, Airborne, and GSR. So I guess they will find use, mainly due to the fact that they have GSR trait, and I'd imagine the sniper also going to be pretty useful due to having the sniper trait, but also having a special forces trait, which is kind of nice. And moving on, we have the Scorpion, classic Scorpion, good optics. Unfortunately, like again, lack of stealth and terrible weapon. And then the Scimitar, better weapon, 30mm, can be handy in a pinch. Then we have the Luxembourg Scouts with the 4 fouls and the M72. They can be brought in 2 types of Humvees. One has the good optics with the 50 cal. And then finally, we have ourselves a Belgian UAV. Very cool. You gotta love like the little flag on the back. All right, moving on to the AA. The AA here, looking a little limited. We have ourselves a Maxim on the back of the MAN Z311. Curious how good this actually is against enemy helicopters. It's obviously not going to be very useful against aircraft. But for 40 points, who knows? Be funny to try, but I don't think it's going to be very good. Then we have ourselves the Gepard B2. So, standard Gepard really. 2,825 meter range versus helicopters, 3,000 versus aircraft. The Gepard's honestly pretty good. You just got to be wary of seed. Moving on, we have the Vulcan, towed Vulcan, which is okay. Not a huge fan of it in like a towed option like this. Much prefer it like when it's on the M113. And then we have the Mistral here. Mistral, best manpad in the game. 2,825 meter range, 60% accuracy. Doesn't really get better than that. It's nice that you do have those as an option. And moving on to the helicopter tab. The A109HA1 is going to be our first option, which comes equipped with the TOW 2, which is really nice. 65% accuracy, 2,625 meter range. You get 4 of them. And then the HA2 is the same, but it has 8 TOW 2s available. Very cool. Like this a lot. I mean, I like the way that the TOW's launchers look on the sides here as well. It looks very, very cool. Big fan of this helicopter. Very nice. Alright, moving on to the air tab. We get the Belgian Mirages. So starting off with the terrible rocket variant. So it has Hydra 70 rockets, but really small rocket pods. Yeah, not too fantastic. For 155 points, it's lackluster. Then we have the Mirage 5BA with the HE loadout. So this comes with the 400 kilogram bombs and the 2 infrared missiles. I don't think this is enough to one-shot an enemy tank, so I'm really not a fan of the payload for the amount they cost. The 30% ECM is nice, and they're going to be able to shoot down helicopters most likely with the twin 30mm plus like an AIM-9. And we have the Napalm variant, which comes with 4 250 kilogram bombs. And then we have the cluster variant, which comes with 4 264 kilogram cluster. Now this is actually probably going to be more than enough to kill enemy tanks, but the Napalm and the HE variant, not too great. Then we have the F-16, Belgian F-16 with the 6 AIM-9s. And there's also an F-16 with a really interesting payload of 2 Rockeye cluster and then 6 227 kilogram bombs. Finally, there is the Mirage 5BA Mercib. Now I'm kind of curious what the benefit of this is. I guess it's just got a better bombs. All the stats are the same, except from the bombs. We just get bigger bombs. 450 kilogram bombs. Okay, well that's interesting because, I mean, this would obviously be a better bombing variant than the HE variant, but it does cost 5 points more. Nice camo. I love this like stripe here with the 3 aircraft at the end of it. That's very cool. Alright, well, anyway, let's throw together a quick deck. So, we're probably going to be doing... Let's see, do I need a fob for this one? Maybe not, to be honest. I reckon we could just do a leader here. So we do probably Iltis plus something like that. Might be enough. Then we have infantry. I'm probably going to bring in the Fusiliers as our forward deployment. And then we'll have these as our leader. I'll bring them in the Unimog. Then I'm thinking upvetted mech Fusiliers with the 25 mils. I could even go like 2 Vel on those. That would be really nice. But we'll definitely bring in the Milan 2s. I'm not sure if I want to bring them in with the Milan vehicle. I don't think it's going to be that worth it in this division. We'll definitely bring up the Pioneers with the flame, or like the hand flame cannon thing. Maybe I'll bring them in with the tankier vehicle. 3 front, 2 side armor. Yeah, let's try that. Okay, we'll need some more standard long range. The Fusiliers are kind of that already. I wonder if we could just do something like that, where we have 3 cards of these. I mean, these have long range equipment actually, with the multiple machine guns plus the 25 mil. That's really nice. And let's bring up the RL83 Pioneers. And I'm not going to push this like crazy far. I don't think we need to put too much more in that. I will bring in both of the M109s. And then it's, do I want 81 more mortars with longer range? Maybe. I mean, I'll try them out. The Luxembourg mortars there. We'll definitely bring up the Leopard 1A5s. I don't think I need to do it for the leader. So we'll just bring in like the standard Leopard 1B leader, and then Leopard 1A5s, and then Leopard 1BEs. Probably want Iltis, Milans. Actually, we'll do Humvee Totus and Iltis Milans. And then we want probably exceptional optics. We want ESR GVP for the GSR trait. We'll take the drone, take the helicopter, take the scimitar. Maybe take this 8-man squad as well. Alright, in the AA, definitely Gepards and Mistral. Tempted to try this out. I mean, we could throw that in there for now, just for the funsies. But truth be told, I probably have 2 sets of Gepards that are upbedded. I think that's probably what I would do. And then for this, we'll just go for like the cheaper one with less, because you'll just fire them and then fall back. And then for the aircraft, if this rocket variant had AIM-9s, it would be really good, but it doesn't. Because you'd be able to use it as like a dedicated anti-helicopter, but I guess you have the F-16s for that, so that's not so bad. Probably bring in both those cards of F-16s. We'll bring in the Cluster Mirage, the Bomber Mirage, and maybe the F-16 with the Cluster. Kinda tempted. Okay, so that's going to leave us potentially with a 49 out of 50. It really depends where I need more troops. Like, I feel like I might need more ammo. We could do extra Volvo there. I think this is fine. I am going to down vet one of those to give us a little bit more availability. In the tank tab, I reckon you could really get away with just spamming Leopard 1s. Because if you have a lot of these advancing at max range, they can engage at max range. So, you know, if you have the line wide enough, some of them are going to be able to sideshot. But the recon tab's really nice. I think we'll just leave it there. A classic 49 out of 50. You hate to see it. Alright, 16th. We'll just call it the 16th Belgian Tank Division. Alright. Interesting. So, logistics tab, great. Infantry tab, pretty decent, honestly. I really like the idea of having a lot of high vet mech fusiliers with the 25mm autocannons. Your artillery is decent enough. Your tank tab, you know, it's lacking high level tanks like, you know, Leopard 2A3s or 4s would be nice, but we'll take Leopard 1s. And you've got decent TOW 2s and the Milan 2 in there. You've got really good recon tab. Like, you've got GSR trait, you've got exceptional optics 8-man squads, or like exceptional stealth, sorry, 8-man squads. You've got drones, you've got the helicopter there, you got the scimitar if you need it. The AA tab is good enough. You know, if you have upbedded Gepards, they're going to do a lot of damage, and then all you need to do is hit them with like one Mistral and the thing gets shot down. So that combination is still pretty good. You got a decent helicopter which can kill stuff that gets into your backline, or if you have like a good opportunity to take advantage of an overexposed tank push. And then air tab, pretty good as well. Like the F-16s are really, really good with the 6 AIM-9 setup. And then you've got a decent array of Mirages and the F-16 there with the cluster. So, yeah, honestly, pretty solid division. And big fan of like the Luxembourg units being mixed in there. Very cool. All right, well, let me know what you think about the 16th Belgian Tank Division. that is it from me. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Thank you much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.